this where they're interviewing for teleworkers?
Oh, yes, it is.
Right. I thought I was late.
Oh, no, you're on time.
Don't want to make a bad first impression.
Are you retired?
Yes. I didn't want to retire, but things were getting too much for me. I was in the building trade, but getting older and a touch of arthritis.
Ah, so you're looking for something a bit less physical, like this telephone helpline thing?
Well, I guess so. I'm not actually very sure what it'll involve. They probably don't want someone my age anyway.
Well, I hope they do. We're much the same age.
I thought you were younger than me.
Oh, what a flatterer. Oh, but seriously, I think employing older people will suit them. It's only part-time, isn't it? Young folk, people with families, they'll be looking for full-time.
I suppose so. Part-time would certainly suit me. I need the money, but my dad is 92 now and he's pretty frail and needs a lot of attention. You can work from home with this job, can't you?
Oh, I think so. I think they'll give you a computer for working at home.
A computer? I've never used a computer. I mean, I thought helpline meant speaking to folk on the phone.
Oh, I suppose it might some of the time, but I think a lot of it is online.
There's no point in me staying then. I've never used a computer in my life.
Oh, hey, hold on. They said they'd give everyone training.
But I'd be starting from scratch. You've probably done lots of stuff on the computer.
Only a bit. I was clerical, so I've done some word processing and I use email, but not much else. I have a lot to learn, and I don't know anything about building.
I don't know. I mean, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, eh?
Well, if you want a job, you'll have to learn one or two new tricks, won't you?
I'm just not very confident.
Well, neither am I. I'm only doing this because I'm on my own. I'm bored. And I want to get out and meet new people. Well, I just hope I can cope with the training.
I don't know.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Go on, give it a go.
Well, I'm here now, eh? What have I got to lose? Are you on your own too now?
Oh, yes. I retired early 8 years ago to take care of my husband till he passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you look after him at home?
Up till the last few months. It was pretty tough. Our children and grandchildren live a long way away, but I'd do it again. Anyway, so this is me, looking for work again after all that time. Scary, eh?
Mr. Alec Murray?
Why, that's me.
Thanks. Mr. Murray, I am Louis Sanchez. I'm the manager here at Helpline. Mr. Murray, can I call you Alec?
Sure.
Please take a seat. So, Alec, are you clear about what this job entails?
Well, I assumed it was responding to people's inquiries about building projects and decorating jobs they were doing at home.
That is what you'll be doing, yes.
But it would mean using a computer?
A lot of the work is online.
And I think I'm wasting your time. I've never used a computer. I've never needed to, so I've never learned.
We do offer training, but you sound as if you may be reluctant to train to use a computer.
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean to give that impression. Oh, it's just that, well, I've a lot of experience in building and decorating, but I've never used a computer. Would you be prepared to train someone like myself who's never used one?
It is possible, but we'll have to see how much relevant experience you've had. Now, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions and see how you'd respond to them from a customer. First question, I want to point my patio. What kind of sand should I use and what ratio of cement mix?
Oh, that's pretty straightforward. You would use builder's sand, not sharp sand, and the ratio is 5 parts sand to 1 of cement.
Excellent. Second question. A customer has a new plastered wall. He or she would like to decorate. How would you advise them to redecorate?
Well, it would depend whether they wanted to paint it or wallpaper it.
Yes.
Well, if they're going to wallpaper it, they would seal it with wall size first and put the paper on afterwards. As far as painting goes, there are 2 options. They could either prepare it with PVA sealant. You would have to water it down first, but if you're doing that, you've got to be absolutely sure that the plaster's completely dry. Now, if you're not sure about that, then you would water down the first coat of emulsion. That would allow the plaster still to breathe.
Can all the customers get this in our stores?
There's not much customers can get in your stores.
So you're familiar with our stores?
You could say that.
Which, Alec, brings me back to the question of using a computer. Most of our clients go online with their queries. Also, if they need to find information, then also our directories and our stock list can be found online.
I see.
So, bringing me back again, how do you feel about training to use a computer? Some classes?
Well, I suppose I'm willing to try. I'm just nervous. I wouldn't be able to keep up with everyone else. That'd be too slow.
Okay, Alec, thank you very much for coming in. Obviously, I've got lots of other people to see this afternoon, but thank you so much for coming in and for letting me know.
Thank you. That's me away now.
How did it go?
I'm not sure. He seems okay though. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Betty North. I'd like to come this way. Mrs. North, can I call you Betty?
That's fine.
Take a seat.
Thank you.
Now, Betty, it says here that you've not been working for 8 years.
Oh, yes, that's right. I took early retirement from my previous job to look after my husband. He had Parkinson's. He passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry, you want to get back into the workplace?
Yes, that's right. I have a small pension, so I could do with the extra money, would come in useful, and I really want to get out and meet other people. I really miss working with other people.
The work here at Helpline can be done from home, but you sound as if you may not want that. You prefer to work in an office?
Oh no, most of the time home would be fine. I'd be talking to the customers and sorting stuff out for them.
And are you familiar with our stores?
Yes, I bought paint and wallpaper, that sort of stuff. I do my own decorating.
Gardening?
I used to have a garden. I live in a small apartment now.
Plastering, tiling, building walls or patios, done any of that?
No.
Electrical goods?
I bought a vacuum cleaner here. And a toaster.
It says here you have some computing skills?
Oh, yes, I used to do word processing in my previous job, letters, that sort of thing. And I use the net and email.
And you've not used databases or spreadsheets?
No.
All future staff are going to be trained. A lot of people are going to have to brush up on the skills. But you need to use databases and spreadsheets to find information you didn't already have. As you know, our stores have a wide range of products.